East Council this 18th day of June. I'd like to call our meeting to order. If everyone could please bow their head for a moment of reflection. Thank you. We have a motion that the agenda as prepared for June 18, 2024 meeting of Council of the Township of Perth East be approved as received. Moved by Jeremy, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. If you have pecuniary interest, you can disclose that now or as the meeting goes along. Under our consent agenda, we have 11 items. Is there anything anyone would like pulled, or they have any questions on any of the items? Seeing none, then we have a motion that the minutes of June 11, 2024, back up. That items 5.1.1 to 5.1.11 as set out on the consent agenda for June 18, 2024, regular meeting of council be received for information, and that the minutes of June 11, 2024, Perth East Public Library Board, PEPLB meeting be received for information, and that the minutes of June 4, 2024, regular council meeting be adopted. Need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have no presentations, public, other, or delegations. We have no public hearings and no public meetings. So we'll move right down to planning. We have no planning. Then we'll move down to the CAO. And the first item is the update to Human Resources Manual 1-2.1. I believe Jacinda is going to do that. So Jacinda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Eggetts. Good evening, Council. Before you guys tonight, you will see a report outlining the HR policy updates for 1-2.1, 2-5, 4-1, and 4-4. I am hoping to get all of these HR manual policies before council. As you can see the dates on some of the policies, some of them haven't been reviewed in front of council in 10 plus years. So just to give you a highlight why these are coming together in this cluster is because sometimes policies impact other policies. So these are kind of grouped collectively. I'll try to do that moving forward with the other policies if there's something that impacts something else to try to bring it as a package. But just so you guys are aware, as part of orientation, the entire manual does go out to new hires. So just to kind of give you a sense of the background of how it's perceived for new employees, and then on an as needed basis for current employees, just referencing policies as they're needed. Of course, with policy amendments, it is difficult to capture every single possible thing that may come out, but the important part about this review is that we're meeting the legislative requirements, which, as you all are aware, change from time to time, so just keeping up with those updates. And straight out of the Municipal Act, Section 224, it is the role of council as outlined in the report, so that's why these are all coming to you folks tonight. In the table summarizing the changes to the policies, pages 4, 5, and 6, and 7 of the report, just to kind of give a brief overview, but because you guys haven't seen the policies in quite some time, I did attach the original policies as well as the draft updated policies. It is a lot of information to digest, but if there are any questions of the report or of any of the changes proposed to the draft policies, I would be happy to try to answer them.
Just a quick question, and apologies if this is captured. I didn't quite see it clearly. Do we have an existing policy on how often we do a market review currently?
So for my knowledge, that was added to the drafter policy under salary administration to help clarify that. I think there are past practices where we've done them on occasion to keep compliant and keep competitive, but I've added that to the draft policy to allow for a little bit more clarity.
Right, because I think we've had it as best practice, but not policy. And like the other thing, just I think the mayor had sent an email about it, but it would be helpful, if at all possible, to have a clean copy and then a copy of just like the highlights of like, here's the change. It's just easier for comparison. I know it's a lot of work for you, but it would be more helpful for review, and it is a big undertaking, so thank you for tackling this.
Okay, other questions, comments? I have a couple. On page 48, it's the org review chart, and I did ask about this too. The Perth County planners are not our staff, they are the staff of the county, so I do not believe that they should be listed here, or if you want to list them, it needs to have a dotted line over, but you need to list all the other departments from the county that we use too, like archives, GIS, economic development. There's several of them. So either we take it out, take everything out, or we put everything in a separate spot. And I think the library too, they're elected, CEO is elected by the board. They're accountable to the library board. They're not accountable to the CAO here in Perth East. So I think those need to come out.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree at all with the comments from Mayor Eggetts. I think if council's comfortable that, yeah, we would make those changes, remove the reference to the planning staff and the library CEO from the, just to clarify the organizational chart. I think that makes sense. There are relationships that exist between the CIO's role and both the library and the planning staff, but those are addressed through separate agreements, so they're not necessarily, yeah, should be part of the organizational chart. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay, and then on page 81, number 6, it talks about the merit increases and merit increases for managers. Oh, I need to back up. Merit increases for employees will be recommended by managers for approval by the CIO. So what happens when you say one thing and the manager says something else? Like, does that happen, or as long as they're doing their job? Or I'm just trying to get more clarification. Like, you don't see all the employees and now use the Perk and Public Works, their staff are never in the office. So how is it decided whether they get that merit increase, whether they've done the job description over the time, or how has it come about?
Yeah, Barry, I think it's a fair question. I think typically the way we've tried to address the policy is that there's a level of trust that exists between the CAO and the managers at that level. So are there instances where I may have follow-up questions as it relates to a merit increase? Probably, but I would say 99% of the time, if the manager is supportive of a merit increase, I'm more than likely going to be supportive of it, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be questions confirming the reason for the merit increase. But the performance review process, which we've tried to amend and make more current, and we've also tried to empower managers to, you know, that they're responsible for their staff and the results that come from their department. That's trying to be reflected in merit increases as well. That they understand their department, they understand their staff, and the recommendations are taken quite seriously by me.
Okay, and then on page 84, it's referenced about the ad hoc personnel committee, yet earlier on like page 53, it's called the Committee of Council. Like the ad hoc committee is actually a committee of council now. At one time it wasn't. So I think we need to be, it's in bullet point at number 3. I think we need to be consistent what we call the personnel committee. Like I don't know if we can still call them the ad hoc personnel because it's all of council. One time it used to be the mayor and deputy and one other councillor, and then we changed it to be all of council. But just that we're consistent in the wording and all the policies, that they're all the same, I guess. And that's the only questions I have. Amanda?
I just have another question based of your question on page 81, just the 0.6. So Mike, would it not make sense to clarify 0.6 to reference the performance review and tie that to the merit increases based on what you had explained? Would that not logically make most sense? Because it would be like a mechanism in which, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just as we're talking, I just thought of that for consideration.
Yeah, it is tied to the performance
Yeah.
review. That's the trigger for the merit increase
Right,
consideration.
but to clarify it in
I
the
think
policy.
I think it is, and I'm just trying to find the reference and, as it relates to,
Because we could
if
have.
you look at number 3 in the policies, sorry.
Yeah.
Councilor Bryan, I'm not trying to cut you off. Increases are, annual wage increases are not automatic. Increases are based on merit, satisfactory job performance, and are assessed annually in conjunction with the performance review process. So it's addressed earlier in the policy.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the mechanism, or the
Okay.
trigger.
Okay, anyone else? So do you want to pass it today, or do you want it to come back to see what the changes,
So
or we
my,
add it? Okay,
I thought it would make sense for it to come back and have the clean version and the tracked version, because I don't 100% know what was changed, like just even with my question about the market review, like it wasn't 100% clear. Like I thought it was just based on best practices, but like it would just be easier to know, like it's such an important document that I like personally, like I would like for it just to come back with a clean version, which is like this, which is the draft, and then the version that has like the highlights of what is the changes, so just provide, and then any comments, right? And I think that would be a little clearer for me personally. I would feel more comfortable passing it. That's my 2 cents.
okay, well, I can enter.
If I may, Mayor, I just have one more quick question before I go too far. So the concern about the ad hoc, I'm not clear on that, what the concern is.
Well, I don't think we're called an ad hoc committee anymore. Okay, sure.
Sorry, I just pulled up the resolution from the inaugural meeting. So when the committees are all appointed, it is the ad hoc personnel committee, and the recommended members is all of council as appointed. So it is still technically the ad hoc personnel committee, just all council members are on that.
Okay, so then maybe on page 853, I think we're called something different. I think that's my concern. I just want to be, it's consistent that it's the same, that we're all talking about the same committee. So where do I go back to 53? Because that was my other reference. Because there, we keep talking about job evaluations approved by council or committee of council. I guess then committee of council is the ad hoc committee, or that's something different?
So we tried to make it even more generic, that it was, if there was a change in the future, because there has been changes as it relates to the makeup of the ad hoc committee over time prior to, so we tried to be even more generic in the wording, and that it was either council or some committee of council. Lots of not lots of, other municipalities do have appointed HR committees, appointed personnel committees. They take different names and different forms. So we were trying to use just committee of council as it relates to 4.1 and 4.4. 5.7 is a reflection of work that was done previously. I have no problems with being consistent with committee of council, because yeah, the ad hoc committee may take, it would still be a committee of council.
Well, ad hoc is just as needed, right? So it's not really, it's just words, but I just want to be clear on what, yeah, I think we changed it back in 2018 in the fall or early 2019.
Something like that.
I believe. So are we proposing making changes to this, or just housekeeping the wording a little bit?
Well, maybe the easiest would be to change 5.7 and call it a committee of council instead of an ad hoc personnel committee. I just want it to be consistent that we know we're talking about the same committee all the way through. I guess that's my Right.
No, just, I understand, yeah, it does, it is, yeah, definitely if there's two different wording, it's just, it's not like it's a committee that meets on a regular basis, maybe once a year. So it kind of is ad hoc, right, by definition. I moved myself closer to keeping it ad hoc just because it is ad hoc, if that makes sense, but whatever everybody decides, it's not a big deal. Just trying to understand what the thing is it the wording ad hoc, or is it defining personnel committee as all of council is kind of what I'm drilling down on.
Anyone else on that same topic?
I personally, I don't think it matters to me what it's called. I think it should be referenced the same throughout the document. I don't think it, like, I'm not really stuck on, you know, sometimes these things have definitions, right? Like you could have, that could be another option to clarify it, right? If it says ad hoc and then in brackets, a committee of council, like I don't, like, I think it's a little technicality, but I think it should just be the same thing throughout the document. But I don't, for me personally, it doesn't matter what it's called exactly, but if we're hung up on some of the historical things of like how things have done in the past and current, then you could have maybe in brackets how it's defined, right? It could be rep to Councillor McAlpine's point, ad hoc committee, and then it could just have in brackets committee of council. It could be another, it's just a suggestion I'm throwing out.
Anyone else on that topic? Jerry?
So is it not, as the clerk mentioned, addressed in our original motion, our first meeting, addressed that the ad hoc personnel committee is a committee of council? So does that not satisfy it? It's just you want the wording changed. Number 2, the last ad hoc personnel committee of council.
But shouldn't the motion and the policy reflect the same thing, right? So if it's in the motion, the document should also be, I guess, I see what the issue is. Like, it's technically correct the way it is now. It's just a matter of if the other second reference, I think it says committee of council and the one says ad hoc.
Just know in 5 years, if somebody comes down and sits, looks at it, they realize that, right? We all know it sitting around the table here, but you want to be clear for in the future as well. I guess that's, I just want to make sure that it's clear that everybody realizes it's the same committee, or the wording now needs to be the same instead of one time we have committee of council and the other time we have ad hoc committee. Anyway, Amanda, I will, she mentioned to defer this and have it to come back. So we could say that the Council of Township of Perth East received a report prepared by the Manager of Human Resources and CAO dated June 18, 2024, entitled Update to Human Resources HR Manual Policies 1-2.1 Organizational Chart, 2-5 Job Descriptions, 4-1 Job Evaluation / Maintenance Review, 4-4 Salary Administration, HR-2024-04 for information, and that we defer and ask staff to bring back the updates.
So just further, because I think it, I don't think it's going to take much, like, for it to come back. I think it makes sense to just see another the updates to the organizational chart as well, because there's just some very minor tweaks, and it would just be another quick look. That's why I'm sort of proposing it. I don't think there's any concerns with the work that's been done, to be clear. I just think that it's good to have another set of eyes on it.
So do you want to move that?
I am moving that, yes. I just wanted to clarify the reasoning rationale.
Do we have a seconder? You? All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next one is updated performance management policy. Jacinda?
Thank you, Mayor Goods. So before council tonight, policy 5-7, performance management, just a quick highlight of the report. apologies, some of this happened before I started here, so I do hope I have the right dates. But the HR coordinator worked with our management team to update and bring forward some new ideas to kind of refresh their performance management policy and practices. This is a really important policy to refresh from time to time, just because sometimes performance reviews do get a bit stagnant and dry. So I believe that was the intention back in 2022. And again, it's been trialed over the last 16 months. This is something that I would recommend take a long trial period, because people have different anniversary dates during different times of the year. So if you only trial it for 1 month or 2 months, it's pretty hard to give everybody an opportunity to see it. Furthermore, there were some people who were on leaves in 2023. So if they were on a parental leave, for example, they may not have had the opportunity to even see this policy or try this goal setting development form yet. So again, just sort of on a trial basis, and again, to switch it to more of goal setting rather than ranking staff on 1 needs improvement or 2 meets expectations. So just a refresher to try to spark some maybe new conversations between managers and staff, as well as look at some of the highlights that it does bring to the municipality, revolving around some of those succession planning topics and helping grow people professionally and developmentally. So that's the short story on this policy. If there's any questions of the report, I would be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the report? No, then we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Manager of Human Resources dated June 18, 2024, entitled Updated Performance Management Policy HR-2024-05 for information, and further that Council direct staff to continue to use the trialed updated HR Policy 5-7 Performance Management along with the corresponding HR forms, Performance Management Goal-Development Form, and Employee Wage Authorization Form. Mover and a seconder, moved by Amanda, second by Andrew. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Jacinda. Now we're going to move to the Clerk's Department, and the first one is Request for Repair and Improvement, Section 78, and it's a Herberth Municipal Drain. So Eric, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, my first report tonight is a Section 78 petition for the Herborth Municipal Drain in Ellis Ward. As you can see by the map included with the petition, the Herborth Municipal Drain has a little bit of a bend in it that cuts off some of the farmland. So that's the proposal is to have this drain relocated closer to the road so that the owners can properly farm that section of land. So under the Drainage Act, we'll have to circulate this to the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority, and then we'll bring it back to council for appointment of an engineer. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer.
Okay, any questions of the report? Seeing no questions, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the request for repair and improvement, Section 78 of the Drainage Act by property owners Dennis and Marie Feltz for the Herborth Municipal Drain, Lot 31, Concession 3, Ellis Ward, Township of Perth East for information, and further that in accordance with Section 78, 2 in brackets of the Drainage Act, the appointment of an engineer will be considered at the August 8, 2024 regular meeting of council, subsequent to the notice advising of the proposed drainage works being sent to the Secretary Treasurer of the Conservation Authority that has jurisdiction over the lands in the affected area. We have a mover and a seconder, moved by Hugh, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next one is the Grampian Drain. Eric?
Thank you. So yeah, we received a Section 4 petition for a proposed branch of the Grampian Drain. Specifically, it would come out of Branch B of the Grampian Drain. And the highlighted parcel there on the map is the property that is requesting or that needs to be drained properly. So they have requested Dietrich Engineering Limited to be appointed, as they have already done a little bit of work as the drainage superintendent to shoot shots of the slope. And yeah, so we're looking to appoint Dietrich Engineering Limited and have them prepare a report under Section 4. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, any questions of the report? If not, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the petition for drainage works, Section 4 of the Drainage Act by property owners Derek Schultz and Ashley Makich for part of Lot 5, Concession 7, Northeast Hope Ward, Township of Perth East for information, and that council appoint Dietrich Engineering Limited to prepare a report under Section 4 of the Drainage Act, and that staff proceed to provide notice of the proposed drainage works to the Secretary Treasurer of the Conservation Authority that has jurisdiction over the lands in the affected area. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jerry, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And the next one is petition for drainage work, the Gingery Municipal Drain.
Thank you. Yep, the next petition is a Section 4 petition for the Gingrich Municipal Drain. As council may remember, on May 22nd, 2024, they passed a bylaw to authorize the signing of a development agreement with Southside Estates. In that agreement, it spoke to the private ditch drain that was found to not be part of the municipal drain. So following up from that, the Roads Authority has requested that this drain be brought under the Drainage Act as a way of protecting the outlet there. So this one, we are looking to appoint Streamline Engineering, Inc., and it will differ a little bit because construction may not be required. It would just be rather a report. There may be a little bit of construction depending on what their findings are, but the drain is already there, so we don't anticipate a heavy or much construction needed at all. So any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, any questions of the report? Seeing none, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the petition for drainage works, Section 4 of the Drainage Act by the Road Authority, Milverton Ward, Township of Perth East for information, and that Council of the Township of Perth East appoint Streamline Engineering, Inc. to prepare a report under Section 4 of the Drainage Act, and that staff proceed to provide notice of the proposed drainage works to the Secretary Treasurer of the conservation area that has jurisdiction over the lands in the affected area. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jeremy, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next one is tender opening the Jacob Municipal Drain. Eric?
Thank you. Next up is the tender opening for the Jacob Municipal Drain. We received 4 tender bids and they're summarized in the table on the screen. We are recommending that council award the tender to the lowest bid to TAS Excavating and Rentals Limited with their submission of $353,139. The Court of Revision did just meet tonight and there was no appeals, so the schedule of assessment was upheld, and the tenders, the lowest bid came in approximately $8,000 over the engineer's estimate. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions of the report? Where are they from, TAS? Around here?
I believe it's Ethel, Ontario. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just curious. Have we used them before? Oh,
Yeah, they just did recently the Road 130 municipal drain in Sebringville.
Right, okay. All right, anyone else? If not, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Development and Drainage Coordinator dated June 18, 2024, entitled Tender Opening, Jacob Municipal Drain, DDC-2024-22 for information, and further that council award the tender for the construction of the Jacob Municipal Drain 2024 to TAS Excavating and Rentals Limited with their submission of $353,139, excluding taxes, only upon satisfactory resolution to all appeals before the Court of Revision. We have a mover and a seconder, moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. And the last one is the tender opening for the Michaels Municipal Drain.
Thank you. My final report is for the Michaels Municipal Drain tender opening. We received 6 submissions for that tender, and we are suggesting to council that we award the the tender for the Michaels Municipal Drain to Blockers Excavating Limited with their submission of $177,616. The Court of Revision did meet again tonight and there was no appeals, so the schedule of assessment was upheld, and it is approximately $10,000 over the engineer's estimate. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions of the report? If not, Council of Township of Perth East received the report prepared by the Development and Drainage Coordinator dated June 18, 2024, entitled Tender Opening, Michaels Municipal Drain, DDC-2024-23 for information, and further that council award the tender for construction of the Michaels Municipal Drain 2024 to Bokers Excavating Limited with their submission of $177,616, excluding taxes, only upon satisfactory resolution to all appeals before the Court of Revision. We have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Bob, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move to finance, and we have the January to May 2024 year-to-date statement. Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess before council tonight is the January to May year-to-date report, and the benchmarks that are there for analyzing the year-to-date numbers. Our general should be around 41 to 42%, and the water sewer should be approximately 50%. So you can see from the report that we're right in that range. The wastewater expenditures are slightly under at 44% versus the 50 benchmark. And you'll note that the year-to-date report has comments, variance notes have been included with that report. If there is anything noted of interest, and if there aren't any notes provided, that means that it's on budget or it's target to date. So there could be seasonal items that are coming into play that maybe cause that line to be out of whack a little bit, but based on the benchmarks. But in the long run, when all that's factored in, it looks like it's on target for budget. In my analysis for the year-to-date, as of May 31st, I haven't noticed any concerning trends, and the departments are on target at approximately 40 to 45%. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the report? You?
On page 115, the library board, it says the net is 610,000, 12.59%. I just don't kind of understand the number.
Yeah, through you, Mayor, I guess the library board, because all of the operating grant from the township has been paid, the revenue is a lot higher than what the expenses are to date, so it throws that percentage out a bit.
Oh, okay.
Because they have higher revenues right now. They've received all of their operating grant.
Okay, don't just look like an alphabet.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Manager of Financial Services / Treasurer dated June 18, 2024, entitled January to May 2024 year-to-date for information. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have nothing from Public Works, nothing from Building. We're going to move to Parks and Recreation, and we have the commemorative naming policy. Becky?
Thank you, Mayor Rhonda. This policy brought forth to council as a result of a number of amenities that we have in our parks and that don't have an official name. We'll often refer to as, for example, the playground here is the Mill Street Playground or the Min Playground or the Fire Truck Playground. So this is just an opportunity for the community to get involved in naming such amenities and a policy that goes along with that. If there's any questions.
Okay, questions of the report? Seeing none, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report prepared by the Manager of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services dated June 18, 2024, entitled Commemorative Naming Policy for Information, and that further that Council approves a proposed commemorative naming policy. Tongue twister. We have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jeremy, second by Amanda. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Becky. Okay, we have no reports from fire. Then we're moving to correspondence, and the first item under correspondence is Milverton BIA. President Jeremy is asking for road closures on August the 15th when the Moonlight Madness is taking place. Is there any questions of the letter? If not, we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the correspondence from Jeremy Matheson, President, Milverton Business Association, dated May 26, 2024, regarding the annual Moonlight Madness event on August 15, 2024, temporary road closure request for information, and that council approve the temporary closure of Main Street, Milverton, between George Street at the north end and Grosse Street at the south end on Thursday, August 15, 2024, rain date Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, from 5:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. in order to accommodate the annual Moonlight Madness event. And further, that large vehicles would detour around Milverton by way of line 61, road 136, and line 67, and further that the certificate of insurance state that the corporation of the Township of Perth East in the County of Perth be added as an additional insured, but only with respects to their interest in the operation of the named insured. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, the second item is from George Yake. He's a Milverton resident, and it's regards to speeding on Pacific Avenue. Anyone have questions? What do you wish to do with this? Jake, do you have any comments on it at all about Pacific Avenue?
I don't think I have a lot of comments at this point. Obviously, this tends to happen with a reconstruction. You know, you get a smoother surface, vehicles, whether they're traveling faster or not, it at least feels that way to pedestrians walking alongside the road. I've had some conversations with different folks in the area, and some have different feelings than others, so I'm not sure there's a consensus, but we can certainly look into this if this is something council wishes to do.
Okay, Jerry?
Yeah, as we tell all our citizens, phone the OPP. The OPP can't be everywhere, so if you see someone speeding, try and grab a license plate and phone the OPP. But I think Public Works has done a great job of looking after things, but they can't be everywhere.
Okay, anyone else? If not, then do you want to refer it to staff, or do you want to receive it for information? Jerry?
I'll receive for information. Yes.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that, Jeremy? Okay, so the motion reads, with Council of the Township of Perth East, receive the correspondence from Greg Yake, Milverton resident, dated June 2nd, 2024, regarding speeding on Pacific Avenue, Milverton, for information. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, and then the third item of correspondence is from Sarah Fisher, Manager, Agriculture and Rural Programs, Ministry of Agriculture and Food, and this is just to tell us, unfortunately, we did not get any money for our restoration of our historic cairns. So we have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the correspondence from Sarah Fisher, Manager, Agriculture and Rural Programs Unit, Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, OMAFRA, dated June 7, 2024, unsuccessful Rural Economic Development RED Program application for historic cairns restoration for information. Moved by Andrew, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Sure, maybe you could give us an update on the cairns and what's happening with them, please?
Sure. Through you, Mayor, it's the rehabilitation work on the Shakespeare Cairn was completed late last week. The structural work, they will still be coming back to do some waterproofing as it relates to that. And then I don't have a start date on the second cairn, but it is progressing, and yeah, we look forward to seeing the finished product.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we're going to move to council and committee reports. My meeting log was here last meeting, so it won't come again till the next meeting. Council reports, is there any report? Jerry?
I attended the, I don't, probably, we skipped it over Public Works, didn't have nothing, but we had the meeting here for Whaley and Fulton Street, the construction project that's happening. We had about 30 residents in attendance. It was, again, well attended, and I think a lot of good questions there. I think everybody was receptive to everything, so it sounds like we're looking forward to that project. But don't know if Jake has anything else, but that, again, it was good. It was good information.
Yeah, quickly, yeah, very good turnout. July 15th is the proposed start date. Anticipated completion of end of October, weather depending, so.
I just wanted to add, thanks, Mayor, I guess, just quickly that it was supposed to be a come and go event, and all of the attendees stayed and sat in the audience, and Jake and Justin, as well as the representatives from Beaver Ross, did a great Q&A session, I would say, to kind of address the expectations of the folks here. So I did want to give kudos to Jake for sure.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports anyone wants to give on their committees they sit on? If not, then we have a motion that the verbal reports by members of council from Councillor Smith on the Whaley and Avenue and Fulton Street open house be received for information. Moved by Bob, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're down to bylaws. We have one bylaw to be read at first, second, third, and final reading, and it's bylaw 107-2024, being a bylaw to authorize maintenance and repair of the Wagner/Shantz Municipal Drain, Northeast Hope Ward. Mover and a seconder for that, moved by Andrew, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. Okay, do we have any notice of motions? Any other business? Any announcements? We do have a need for a closed session, so we will read that, right? We have a motion that the regular meeting of council of the Township of Perth East be temporarily adjourned at 7:41 p.m. to permit the holding of a meeting in closed session for the purpose of a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group, of persons, or organization. Legal services agreements. So we need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone else. Enjoy the rest of your night. retainer agreement for legal services with counsel with Hicks Morley Hamilton Stewart Story LLP, and that the bylaws listed be read first, second, third, and final time. We need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Jeremy, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And that bylaw 37, 2024, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the Township of Perth East at its regular meeting held on June 18, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time. Moved by Amanda, second by Jerry. All in favor? Carried. And the last motion of the night is that council meeting be adjourned at 7:54 p.m. Moved by Amanda, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.